Kensington is a Philadelphia neighborhood with a higher crime rate than the national average. West Kensington, East Kensington, Fair Hill, Port Richmond, and Old Richmond are all part of the Kensington neighborhood. It is well known for its alarming heroin problem, which has earned it the moniker Walmart of heroin. Kensington Avenue is widely regarded as the East Coast's largest outdoor heroin narcotic market. When Kensington was deindustrialized in the 1950s, it transformed from a blue-collar factory neighborhood to a drug-infested city. As the city's financial investment dwindled, the drug market stepped in to fill the economic void. In addition to drug users, Kensington now attracts drug tourists, or people looking for the cheapest and most potent drugs from all over the country. Kensington drugs have wreaked havoc on Philadelphia's residents. Since 1994, the city's drug overdose rate has tripled, tripling the number of homicides and exceeding the number of AIDS-related deaths. Because of the area's drug problem, its crime rate is the third highest in the city at 1.21%. It's not uncommon to see people injecting heroin and nodding off on the sidewalk in the middle of the day in this part of Philadelphia. Despite the passage of time, since the beginning of the opioid epidemic, the COVID-19 pandemic has exacerbated the country's drug problems. In 2020, there are expected to be 88,000 reported drug overdose deaths, a 27% increase from the previous year. According to the Kensington Police Department, there are currently over 80 corners with open-air drug markets. In 2020, an estimated 47 people were killed and 231 were shot and injured. Unfortunately, Kensington heroin trade is still thriving. It contributes to the city's high crime rate, which includes gun violence. The year 2020 saw the highest rate of drug and gun violence related deaths in this area since 2015. Despite the mandates and social distancing requirements imposed by COVID-19, drug dealers and addicts continue to congregate on the streets. Due to the pandemic, drug dealers and distributors were also unable to obtain the same quantities of ingredients that they were previously accustomed to using. As a result, less potent heroin with a shorter duration of high has become more popular. This has increased the rate of heroin abuse and purchase. And in response to the opioid epidemic and drug problems in Kensington, Philadelphia, nonprofit organizations and government officials are collaborating to develop a plan of action. Those in need of assistance are being provided with safe housing, food, medical care, and employment opportunities. Even if they receive heroin addiction treatment, these people will struggle if they are homeless, isolated, and unable to find food or shelter. One of the most frequent side effects of drug use is that it causes you to lose balance and confusion. Drugs can have a detrimental effect on your cognitive abilities. Some of the long-term consequences of drugs may include permanent damage to blood vessels of the heart and brain, high blood pressure leading to heart attacks, strokes, and death, damage to the liver, kidneys, and lungs, weight loss due to malnutrition, severe tooth decay, depression, and suicide. Each day becomes more challenging. Many people here are struggling to make ends meet. It is impossible to move solely on one's own. To make the day less stressful, one must be in a group. Although it is hard to make a living in these circumstances, socialization and engaging in stimulating conversations eradicates pain and provides a sense of belonging. This spot here is a common territory that you will find most people hanging out. Philadelphia has long been known as the city of brotherly love, a name derived from the ancient Greek terms philos, which means beloved, dear, or loving, and adelphios, which means brotherly. The city was first named by its founder, William Penn. Philadelphia is also frequently abbreviated as Philly. The Liberty Bell, Independence Hall, and the Rocky statue are all located in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is the poorest of the largest U.S. cities, with 23.3% of residents living in poverty, outnumbering Houston, the next largest poor U.S. city, by 2.9%. The city's non-Hispanic, white, Asian, and mixed-race population have seen a slight increase in poverty. Between 2005 and 2019, each group experienced an average annual increase in residential poverty of 1.2, 1.9, and 0.5% respectively. Poverty has decreased slightly among Philadelphia's Black population since 2005. While they account for approximately 40.1% of the city's total residential population in 2019, 26.7% of the city's non-Hispanic Black population was impoverished at that time. The reason you see so many people here sleeping while standing, drowsing, and bending over has to do with a drug called xylazine. In humans, combining xylazine and fentanyl may enhance the desired effect of sedation while decreasing the adverse effects of respiratory, depression, bradycardia, and hypotension caused by fentanyl alone, similar to the synergistic effects of combining benzodiazepines with heroin and/or fentanyl. According to active drug users, the veterinary tranquilizer xylazine has been increasing in the illicit drug supply in Philadelphia. As fentanyl has largely replaced heroin in Philadelphia, xylazine is increasingly being found in combination with fentanyl. Xylazine is used for sedation, anesthesia, muscle relaxation, and analgesia in animals such as horses, cattle, and other non-human mammals. The addition to xylazine to fentanyl makes you feel like you're doing heroin in the old days before it was replaced by fentanyl, when the euphoric effects lasted longer, according to active drug users. Users claim that xylazine gives them the nod that heroin used to give them prior to the replacement of fentanyl in the drug supply. Despite the lack of research on the health effects of chronic xylazine use, regular injections of xylazine have been linked to skin ulcer, abscesses, and lesions. Because skin ulcers are painful,
People may repeatedly inject xylazine at the site of the ulcer to relieve pain, as xylazine is a potent A2 adrenergic agonist that mediates via central A2 receptors, reducing the perception of painful stimuli. People may self-treat the wound by draining or lancing it, which can worsen the situation. While there has been an increase in skin and soft tissue infections associated with injection drugs used in Kensington Avenue, it is unclear whether this is due to the increased presence of xylazine in the drug supply. Although the risk of xylazine use in humans are unknown, evidence suggests that combining xylazine with an opioid such as fentanyl may increase the risk of overdose fatality. Although naloxone, the opioid overdose reversal drug, is ineffective against xylazine alone, in Philadelphia, unintentional fatal overdose with xylazine detections also had heroin and/or fentanyl detections, indicating that prompt administration of naloxone is critical for preventing deaths. Additional treatment for xylazine poisoning may include intubation, ventilation, and intravenous fluid administration.
Kensington is a Philadelphia, Pennsylvania neighborhood. Its location within the larger division of sections of Philadelphia is questionable. But it is frequently regarded as the dividing line between or belonging to both the lower Northeast and North Philadelphia sections of Philadelphia. It is commonly regarded as part of the Philadelphia River wards. Modern Kensington is larger than the former Kensington district, but unlike the Kensington district, it excludes Fishtown.
The lack of an official destination, as with all neighborhoods in Philadelphia, means that the area's boundaries vary between sources and over time. Kensington has long been known for its large working-class Irish Catholic communities.